Hey YouTube world, what's going on? Mark here from TST Industries, back in the garage with another installation video. And as you can see in front of me, I have a full suite of products, and behind me I have a 2019 model Yamaha Tracer 900. All the products on this table are all the crash protection products we have provided by Womet-Tech to cover the 2018 to 2020 model Yamaha Tracer 900. So if you have a Tracer 9 GT, which would be 2020 and up, 2021 and up, be sure to check that out. It's a little different. Some of the products may be different. But in short, let's cover over everything. That way, if you're watching a video for, say, spool sliders, you understand that, yes, we do have frame sliders as well. So starting on the right-hand side, we do have spool sliders. We also have spools. These are a much smaller piece made out of aluminum. Going back to the right, we have our single point frame sliders. Coming over to the left, however, we have our dual point Evos frame sliders. These are a 2-point system with a much larger delrin slider. Coming back to the right one last time, we have our engine slider. This is a delrin cap meant to replace the OEM cap on the left side case. And lastly, on the left-hand side, we have our front fork sliders. These are 2 delrin pucks with an aluminum rod that installs in minutes on the front wheel. And in this video, we will be installing the Womet-Tech single point frame sliders. So to begin this installation, we will be starting on the left-hand side of the bike, and we will be focusing on this front facing engine mounting bolt. Now we are going to unbox what is included with the Womet-Tech frame sliders. As you can see, we have 2 pucks. They are pre-packaged like this and sort of pre-assembled. It's easy to remember. The longer side goes on the left side, L for L. The shorter side goes on the right side. It has a shorter aluminum base. So what we're gonna do is grab our tool with an 8mm hex key or Allen key head on it. I'm actually going to use a breaker bar for this, as we have not yet broken these engine bolts. And I don't know how much force Yamaha applied by default. With that coming off, I'm actually going to replace this at this point with our ratchet. And it is important to note that when you are doing a frame slider installation, you want to make sure that the bike is in an upright position. If it's leaned over on a kickstand, or you have a buddy holding it up, there is a chance for a little bit of movement in the frame and on the motor. You don't want that. If the motor sags at all, you're gonna have issues. So please, please, please make sure that the bike is in an upright position. We have it here on the lift with a front wheel stand. If it was on a rear stand, that'd be fine as well. It's also important to note, never remove both engine bolts at the same time. Obviously there are 2 more, just don't do it. You will have a little bit of sag. So we're gonna focus on 1 bolt at a time. Let's proceed with this. All right, we made sure everything came off, which was just the bolt and the washer. Now we will begin with slowly hand tightening this down. We're gonna grab a 17mm socket and just slowly. You can't do it by hand, obviously, because of how far into the puck that the bolt head is. But I feel pretty comfortable with this. I'm actually going to grab an attachment now, just so I can get a little bit more bite. And I can feel that it's going in just fine. There's no cross-threading happening. That's why we do this by hand without a tool until we bottom out. Once we bottom out, then we will use a torque wrench. But you want to make sure you get those threads on with no issues and no interference. Now that that is secure and bottomed out, we're going to grab our torque wrench. We're going to set it to 40 Newton meters or 29.5 foot-pounds. Perfect. Now this process is exactly the same on the left side, so we will go ahead and show that now. However, I do want to mention, also included in this packaging are a set of black accent caps to fill this. Cover this hole so it looks a little more refined. We always do recommend and suggest to apply a little bit of all-purpose clear silicone on the perimeter of these caps when you press them in, just to avoid them popping out, especially on a bike like this or the MT-07, where there's a lot of vibrations on the motor and on the motor mount. You want to have a little bit more security, added security. So I always recommend applying a little bit of clear all-purpose silicone. It's a couple of bucks at the dollar store. It's a great thing to have around the house. We'll press those in and we'll be all good to go after we install the right side frame slider. Coming on over to the right side of the bike, we're going to follow those exact same steps. Begin by removing this bolt. Bolt and washer came off with no issues. Take the frame slider packaging, frame slider out of the packaging. Now that it's bottomed out, we'll torque it down. Again, that's 40 Newton meters or 29.5 foot-pounds. All right. Very last step, as I mentioned, I would show just exactly what we recommend doing. Here's some clear all-purpose multi-use silicone. We're just going to take a little bit. If I can get it to come out of the tube here. You can see I have a light amount. I'm just going to apply some on various parts of the perimeter. With the logo facing up, I will now press this in. And then I'll grab a napkin and wipe off any excess. All right, and with that, this installation is now complete. If you want to check out these products or any other products we have for the Tracer 900 or any other bike that's sitting in your garage, be sure to check out tstindustries.com. The link to this product is in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, don't be afraid to leave them down below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on to stay up to date with all the new and exciting videos we will be putting out. And lastly, always stop by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all username TST Industries, to stay up to date with what exactly we are working on. For now, this has been Mark from TST Industries. Catch you guys next time.